Hey all, it's Taylor, and this is the iVanky FusionDock Max 2. This is iVanky's most powerful dock yet. It has a whopping 23 ports, including a couple SD card slots, USB-C, USB-A, headphone microphone jack on the front, as well as the back, 2.5 gigabit per second LAN, HDMI, SPDIF, and best of all, 3 Thunderbolt 5 ports at 120 gigabits per second. It has 2 Thunderbolt controllers built into the dock, which means you can power 3 4K external displays, and it works exclusively with Macs with Apple Silicon. It is priced at $399 US and has a 2-year warranty. I'm going to tell you all about the FusionDock Max 2 in this video. Be sure you check out my affiliate link in the description below. Full disclosure, iVanky did send me the FusionDock Max 2 for review. I do get to keep the dock. Thoughts and opinions are completely my own. Let's go ahead and start with the unboxing of the FusionDock Max 2. Here's the box if you're curious. On the front is the dock itself. On the back is all the ports. The dock is well packaged with the instruction booklet at the very top. This includes the full user's manual as well as a quick start guide with some troubleshooting and some compatibility pictures. Underneath that, you will see the dock itself wrapped in this plastic protective sleeve. Just go ahead and pull it on out. Putting that to the side, down below, this is your cables. You get a power cord with a power brick, as well as the USB-C connections from the dock to the computer. And also mine included an HDMI to USB-C cable. However, on iVanky's website, it does say that newer versions of this dock come with a Thunderbolt 5 cable. The power brick that comes with the iVanky FusionDock Max 2 is a 240 watt power brick. Handling the FusionDock Max 2, I will say that it is a pretty heavy device. iVanky doesn't have a weight figure on their website, and I don't have a scale, but this is kind of a heavier device. It feels very well built. Squeezing the sides here, there is no flex at all, and it also has this floating design that is for cooling, so the actual dock sits inside this floating housing so that air can be pushed through. The dock does have a fan so that air can circulate through the ports and keep everything very cool. Also on the bottom is a pair of rubber feet, so you can put this on a desk and it isn't going to slide around. Here is the front of the FusionDock Max 2, and when you plug it in, you will notice that you get an illuminated power button. This power button will turn on and off the whole dock, the power system, everything that's connected into it will be turned off. And then here is the back of the FusionDock Max 2 with all of its audio USB-C Thunderbolt 5 ports. Let's just jump right into Thunderbolt 5. The first thing I wanted to try was connecting my OWC Envoy Ultra, which is a Thunderbolt 5 drive, which has a rated megabytes per second speed of over 6,000 megabytes per second. Now, while I've never achieved that even natively connected into my Mac itself, connected to the FusionDock Max 2, I was getting about the same speeds that I would get if I was connected to my Mac, which is around 5,000 megabytes per second. So this is extremely strong start. Next, I wanted to try 4K 240 Hertz with my Asus 27-inch OLED monitor. Connected to my M4 Max MacBook Pro, I was getting 4K 240 Hertz. Same deal with my MacBook Air with the M4, 4K 240 Hertz with this single display. And also on my work computer, which is an M1 Max, I was getting 4K 120 Hertz. So you are going to be limited by the Max hardware. M1 Max cannot do 240 Hertz. Next up, I wanted to push it a little further with dual 4K 240 Hertz monitors. One is my Alienware 32-inch, the other is the Asus 27-inch that I was using as a single display. And indeed, both are running at 4K 240 Hertz, which is just awesome. So you can have 2 displays running at 4K 240 Hertz on the M4 Max. It is going to vary by which computer you use. And last but not least, I introduced my Apple Studio display to the mix to have that triple monitor setup connected via the dock to my M4 Max computer, and all displays were running at their native resolution. If I was to connect this to my Apple MacBook Air, which is running on the M4 chip, I was only able to get 2 displays working, so the triple display support is going to heavily rely on the hardware compatibility of your Mac. Now, you might think that these are all connected to the 3 Thunderbolt 5 ports on the back, but that is not the case. You need to connect to 2 of any of the 3 Thunderbolt 5 ports on the back, as well as the HDMI for the third monitor, and that HDMI port is HDMI 2.0. It's not 2.1, so you are going to be limited to 60 Hertz on whatever monitor you connect that to. Unfortunately, it would have been nice to see HDMI 2.1 here to take advantage of those higher refresh rates on a third monitor. There's still one Thunderbolt 5 port left over after connecting a third monitor, so I wanted to see if I could connect my OWC Envoy Ultra to it and get the same speeds. While I was still getting very fast speeds, it wasn't quite as fast as when I had less monitors connected, so you are eating up a little bit of bandwidth there. Nonetheless, this is still reaching 3,000 megabytes per second, which is very fast. And of course, you have another Thunderbolt 5 port or Thunderbolt 4 port open on your Mac. On the topic of drive speeds, there's also 2 SD card readers on the front of the dock. One is a full-size SD card slot. The other is a micro SD card slot. These are both SD 4.0 as well as UHS 2. And I tested the speeds on the full-size card slot, and I am getting very fast speeds, enough to transfer 4K and 8K footage comfortably to my computer. And you also have the micro SD card slot there if you have like a switch and you want to take out the SD card and throw it in the micro SD card slot, or if you have a dash cam or whatever you want to use, you can easily put that in and access your files. There's also a variety of other ports on the front of the FusionDock Max 2. Looking at these real quick, there is multiple USB-A ports. There's 5 gigabits per second at the top, as well as a 10 gigabits per second USB-A. And then there's also 2 USB-A 2.0 ports. Furthermore, there are 2 USB-C ports that are 10 gigabits per second. And then there's another USB-C port, which is kind of interesting because it is a power delivery out only. It delivers 35 watts of power, and this is useful if you want to connect your phone or tablet to charge it. Also at the front is the microphone headphone jack. This is a TRRS port. And when you plug it in, you will see the port appear on your Mac's control panel. You can go ahead and select it there, and you can adjust the volume on either your keyboard if you have a volume control on your keyboard like I do, or you can natively control the volume on your Mac. And while I'm at it, I might as well talk about the headphone microphone jack on the back. It is pretty much the same port, TRRS. You can plug it in, it appears as the TRRS back port on your control panel. And again, you can control the volume. Now you can get really crazy if you want to, and you can connect both the front and the back if you have that kind of audio setup. I can't think of a use case for that because I'm not really an audiophile, but if you need that, it is available there, and you will be happy to know that you can control the volumes independently depending on which input you select. And now that we're at the back of the FusionDock Max 2, there is a couple USB-A ports. Again, with the USB-A, they love it on this dock. There is another USB 2.0 port. Again, why are you using USB 2.0? Doesn't make sense to me, but there's also USB-A 5 gigabits per second. If you want some low wattage charging there, you have it. There are 2 USB-Cs at the back at 10 gigabits per second, and they operate at 7.5 watts. There's also a Kensington lock on the back, so if you need to secure your dock, that is a nice peace of mind to have. And finally, there is a 2.5 gigabit per second LAN port. This is extremely useful if you are a content creator or professional who deals with a lot of media and you want to offload your footage, pictures, whatever large documents to a NAS, because this is going to offer you 2.5 gigabit per second speeds, and I have tested it here, and you are getting the full 2.5 gigabit per second bandwidth with this LAN port. We've covered all the ports and all the features of the dock. I want to circle back to cooling. Because this dock has an active cooling fan, it keeps all the components cool, and I have been using this dock for about 2 weeks now, and I haven't had any issues with overheating. I've been loading it up, testing it out, and no issues with overheating. However, the fan is audible. I want to make that clear that you can hear the fan, and it is especially noticeable with Apple Silicon Macs because they don't have any fan noise. So you are going to hear the fan if you're used to just a completely silent workflow. Like say if you're working remote at home, you will hear the fan. And then additionally, there is kind of a weird electronic interference noise. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not, but I've noticed it whenever I scroll things or move windows on the screen. It will make like this electronic interference noise, and it can be a little distracting. If you have any issues with the FusionDock Max 2, it does come with a 2-year warranty, which is a very, very healthy warranty. Y'all should always prioritize warranty when factoring in purchases for these devices, and a 2-year warranty is really good, especially since the iVanky comes in under the CalDigit TS5 Plus at $399. It is undercutting its competition a little bit there, and I think it is offering a lot for that price considering all these ports on this FusionDock Max 2. If you're coming from the FusionDock Max 1, the FusionDock Max 1 is a little smaller in terms of height, width, length. It is just a smaller dock. It is lighter, and it has passive cooling, so there is no fan on the FusionDock Max 1. However, it's Thunderbolt 4. You're not getting the Thunderbolt 5 of the FusionDock Max 2. Thunderbolt 5 is more intensive, it heats up more, so they needed a bigger, more robust chassis with active cooling. Also, please keep in mind that the FusionDock Max 2 is only compatible with Macs, so you cannot connect this to a Windows laptop. Unfortunately, that would have been really cool with the feature set that this dock has, but you just can't do it. You can also not connect it to any Intel-based Mac computer. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this dock. What do you think of it? Are you looking to pick this up? If you are, be sure to check out my affiliate link in the description below. And if you liked the video, be sure that you hit that like button and subscribe to see more videos like this. Leave your comments and feedbacks in the description below, and I will see you in the next one.